Could this be the best way to travel between Hong Kong and Macau? Today we're travelling in Premier Grand Class on Turbojet Ferry from Hong Kong on a day trip to Macau to see what the experience is like in first class, from the comfy seating to the included food and drink. And on the way back we'll also be checking out the economy class to get a clearer picture on whether or not Premier Grand Class is worth the upgrade. Let's get going. So you can pre-book your tickets online, but we didn't for this one today because we weren't sure exactly when we want to go. So we just got up in the morning, made our way down to the ferry terminal and went to purchase tickets. At the time we arrived, the next available seats they had in economy class was going to be 11 AM, but they were selling 9 AM tickets for Premier Grand Class. That would leave us with about an hour to kill, so we decided to make our way down to the Premier Lounge. But it was closed. This is supposed to have snacks and drinks available for those travelling in Premier Grand Class, but it was closed and it didn't look like it would be opening anytime too soon. And given that the price of Premier Grand Class was a good bit more expensive than economy, it was a bit disappointing to immediately not be getting some of the benefits. For reference, Premier Grand Class was about £49 per person, whereas standard class was only £18. But since that lounge wasn't available, we decided to grab a coffee in the terminal and had a bit of a wander around before heading over to the departure gate. We ended up heading to the departure gate a bit early, just over half an hour before our departure time. And I was very glad that we did. One of the benefits of Premier Grand Class that wasn't advertised to us when we were buying the tickets and being told that the next departure was 9 AM is the fact that if there is availability on an earlier ferry, you can actually get on that one. You don't get that same level of flexibility with the economy ticket, so I was quite glad that we pre-ordered our economy trip for the way home. But we were very pleasantly surprised when we made our way down to the departure gate expecting to sit around for half an hour. Thankfully there was a nicer seating lounge if we were going to do that, but instead we were greeted by a lovely woman who informed us that we were able to get on the 8:30 departure. We were a little bit concerned that because we were told this one wasn't available, there was probably going to be a little more crowded than the one we originally were booked on, but to save ourselves half an hour and get there a bit earlier to Macau, we thought, yeah, why not, let's hop on board. Today's ferry was a Foilcat 377, capable of speeds of up to 45 knots and with capacity for 40 Premier Grand Class passengers. And on our way back we'll be on a Boeing-made 183 Jetfoil. For now though, we made our way on board and went right to the front of the boat. Premier Grand Class was on the lower level and we were very surprised to find it pretty much deserted. No idea why they didn't just sell us tickets to this one in the first place. Our seats today were right in the front row. A nice sized recliner seat, and since we're at the front, absolutely loads of leg room. The seats also have these small side tables which could be folded over into a slightly larger table, and we'll be using these later on once our food arrives. I then managed to eventually find where the recline was, which is this lever down here, and it goes back nice and far, and I think given how quiet the cabin was in here, it was nice to know that I could recline without bothering anyone else. If you are in the seats that aren't in the front row, you have a tray table that folds down from the back of the seat in front of you, and there's also a seat pocket that you can put some things in. All relatively comparable to what you might see in a premium economy seat on a flight, or maybe just an economy seat with extra leg room. And not too long after we found our seats, we were on our way. I think thanks to our last minute switching onto this one, we were probably amongst the last on board. We didn't have the greatest of views on our way out of Hong Kong. The windows ahead of us were pretty mucky, and we're obviously quite low down in these seats. Thankfully on the way back we did have much better views from our economy seats. Over to the side of where we're sitting was the even more expensive VIP area. To book these foursome cabins you have to book out the entire thing, so you couldn't just book 2 seats in here. But this offers a fully private closed off room with much better views. Shortly after departure we were offered our included meal and drinks. There was no physical menu provided, but we were given a few options. Out of those, the ham and cheese sandwich felt like the most appealing at this time, and I think you can probably tell from looking at it exactly how it tastes. Nothing wrong with it, but not the most exciting meal in the world. The service of this was a little bit slow, it is just a basic ham and cheese sandwich, but Kelly's came out quite a bit before mine did. I was actually waiting quite a while for them to bring it out. And I had a quick look online and found that we were supposed to get a dessert as well, so I did ask for this. Thankfully there was included Wi-Fi for Premier Grand Class, so I was able to easily access that and check the menu. When I asked about dessert she seemed quite surprised, but she did say there was one cake available, so she brought that out for me. Thankfully the one option they had was very nice, and a good way to finish off the meal. I believe if you sat in the VIP cabins it is the same meal service you received there, however the main difference is you are served champagne. I had a quick look in the bathrooms on board, this was quite spacious, kept nice and clean, but yeah, not too much else to call out about that. And the whole journey went by really quickly. The seats were really comfortable, so it was really easy to just relax. The water had been pretty calm as well. And I think when you have a relatively short journey like this and you also have a meal service, that meal service just takes up quite a lot of the time, distracts you nicely, so you soon fly by. And just over an hour after we first stepped on board, it was time to disembark. Premier Grand Class are the first to be allowed off, and everyone else is roped off until then. They did make us get out of our seats quite early though, but they had us waiting around at the door for quite a while. Meanwhile, the boat was rocking around the whole time. I don't know why they didn't just let us sit in our seats. They were very insistent that we had to get up and stand by the door. But it was nice to be first off. Upon arrival, another benefit of Premier Grand Class is that you do get a private transfer. However, you are supposed to pre-book this, so no one was expecting us, but we thought we'd try our chance anyway and went over to where the car was parked up. We spoke to the driver, and although he did say he had another pickup to do soon, he thought he should have just about enough time to drop us over at the Venetian and get back in time for his next pickup. No extra charge at all. I thought it was really good of them to do this because technically it was a benefit that we shouldn't have had when we didn't pre-book it, and it was a very comfortable ride taking us over to the casinos. We'd never been to Macau before and we absolutely loved it. We were lucky enough to get an absolutely beautiful day. Really nice and sunny the whole time. And as big fans of places like Vegas, we were loving walking around the casinos, particularly walking around the outsides, looking at the buildings, and just generally enjoying the spectacle of it all and the good weather. So we spent the first hour or so that we were here just walking up and down the strip, enjoying the sun, taking a few photos, before eventually making our way inside the Venetian for something that we'd researched online that we wanted to try out. Instead of gambling, we were heading to Team Lab's Supernature. Team Lab is a Japanese art collective and they have these interactive and very modern kind of art museums. Until we were coming to Macau, I thought they only had these in Tokyo, with the original Team Lab Planets and Team Lab Borderless. And when we'd been in Tokyo about a week earlier, we found that we couldn't get into anywhere. Unless you're pre-booking those places, you're not going to be able to get in at a decent time, so the only reservations that had been available for us were about 9 PM. By contrast, in Macau, we were able to just rock up with no reservation, got our tickets, walked straight in, and there was barely anyone in there. Really cool way to spend a couple of hours whilst avoiding the midday heat. And from what I could tell, it seems like a lot of the exhibits here are very similar to what they have at Team Lab Borderless in Tokyo. So it's very nice feeling like we have this place pretty much all to ourselves, when the Tokyo ones are so popular and busy. But by the time we came out of there and had had a bit of a wander through the casino and maybe got lost a little bit, it was time to grab a taxi back to the ferry terminal to make our way back over to Hong Kong, this time in economy class. We'd ended up making it back relatively early for this one in the end. Unfortunately, this time we weren't going to be able to wait in the nice Premier Grand Class seating. Instead, we had to make our way over to the economy one, these little metal chairs. But we didn't have to wait all the way till departure time before we were allowed on board, and there was free Wi-Fi available in the waiting area. And as I mentioned earlier, this time we were going to be on the Boeing-made Jetfoil. Our economy seats on this return journey were going to be upstairs. However, interestingly, the Jetfoil also has some Premier Grand Class seats upstairs too. The seating's definitely more dense in economy, a lot more seats in here, and the seat itself is definitely a bit more narrow, and the headrest isn't quite as comfortable. Still plenty of space though, lots of room in front of you. Still a good sized seat pocket and a tray table, and the seat itself was wide enough. Definitely less comfortable, but absolutely fine, especially for the cost involved. I had a bit of a battle with the guy in the seat in front of me over the window. He wanted the window blinds down, but I wanted to get the view. And he was the only person in the whole cabin that had decided to lower the blind, but thankfully he did agree to put that up. The journey on the way back is the exact same time as the journey out, but it definitely felt a bit longer. I think not having the meal service to break things up or distract us, being in slightly less comfort and just having a bit of a busier environment, it definitely felt like the hour-long journey that it was, whereas the morning journey had absolutely flown by. But overall, do I think it was worth upgrading to Premier Grand Class for the morning one? Well, I'm not sure. It was nice to experience it. I definitely got the day off to a nice start, and it was great having the taxi ride over to all the sites. But the food we were given was pretty mediocre, and the seats in economy are perfectly comfortable. So the best balance for me would probably be just booking the economy ticket, bringing some snacks on board, and then paying for your own taxi. If you do all that, it'll cost a good bit less, probably about half the price, and you'll probably have a pretty similar experience. That said, if the hectic, busy environment in Hong Kong is getting to you and you want a bit of peace for a while, although the Premier Grand Class ticket is a good bit more expensive, it's not an outrageous price, and depending on your mood and the size of your wallet, it could be well worth splashing out the extra for an hour of relaxation, especially if ticket availability means you can get there a lot quicker. The day after this trip, we were flying out of Hong Kong on a Cathay Pacific business class flight to Bangkok. If you want to see what that experience is like, go ahead and watch this video next. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.